A video of presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg speaking at a candidates forum back in 2010 has resurfaced thanks to comments he made about the Tea Party, which was then in its early years. Listen to what Pete had to say.
I have to admit, as a Democrat, that many of my friends and supporters looked at me as if I was absolutely nuts when I suggested that I would be coming tonight to speak with a group that's often identified with the Tea Party. There are some, especially in my party, who think that the Tea Party is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Republican Party. But there are many others who believe that the Tea Party is motivated by real concerns about the direction of our government and the responsiveness of our government to citizens, and above all, a frustration with business as usual. That is what motivated me to run. And so while we may come from often very different perspectives, I believe we might find.
So that is one way to describe what motivated the Tea Party initially. And joining us now to break down other potential explanations for the Tea Party's formation from Rebel HQ, Emma Vigeland, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, John.
Great to have you here. So Pete Buttigieg, the Tea Party is just motivated by a concern about the direction of our government. You've been following the Tea Party over the past few years and everything. What do you think about that description of it?
Well, so I mean, obviously the Tea Party was initially born out of racism, and I think that characterizing it as anything different, it does a disservice to actually what happened. I mean, the birther movement was a huge part of the Tea Party whole debacle as well. There is a point to be made, though, that the Tea Party and now what we're seeing with Donald Trump is a movement that was born out of frustration with politics as usual, as Buttigieg says. But again, it's this frustrating both sidesism that neoliberals like to push forward, where it's not like he's saying, well, so I'm going to run as a leftist populist because we need to end these corrupt systems. He's just saying, well, some people say this and others say this, and so I'm going to give this speech that says nothing at all, but I sound really smart. And that kind of epitomizes his candidacy and his political career as a whole.
Yeah, and really fast on the Tea Party, there's the idea that they were just frustrated with the direction of the government, which I don't think makes sense, because the Tea Party protests started like 2 months into Obama's presidency. Like, how much time had they had to determine that it was moving in the wrong direction? It was mighty fast that organized. There's the argument that it was issue-based, that it was about deficits and out-of-control government spending. Well, Trump has exploded the deficit and the national debt, and I haven't heard a peep out of anyone from the Tea Party, so I have a feeling that's not what it was. And on the race thing, I did a little bit of research, and really fast, I just want to run through two little graphics about some research that's been done about the racial origins of the Tea Party. In 5 separate studies, a group that was primed with racial threat-inducing stimuli showed significantly more support for the Tea Party than a similar group that didn't. So if you scare white people about racial stuff, they suddenly become more supportive of the Tea Party, or sorry, the direction of the government. And then also, racial resentment stokes Tea Party fears about generational societal change and fuels the Tea Party's strong opposition to President Obama. Consistent with that conclusion, an April 2010 poll found that Tea Party supporters were nearly twice as likely as the general public to endorse the symbolic racist belief that too much has been made of the problems facing black people in recent years. That poll, by the way, was just a handful of months before the video that we showed you with Pete Buttigieg. And obviously, I mean, you've been following Buttigieg, who's exploded in the polls in Iowa, but I just saw in South Carolina, he was at 0% with black voters. So that certainly seems like an area where he's lagging behind.
Well, certainly, and I think it's a chicken or the egg conversation when we're talking about the Tea Party, because while I do hear what you're saying, and racial resentment is definitely going to be what polls the highest when it comes to motivating factors, racial resentment and increase in it is often, I think, born of economic factors. Sometimes, now it's stoked up more so when people are hurting. They feel more inclined to turn to racism than maybe in the past, and that will motivate them more to go to the polls than other things. So I hear what you're saying, but yeah, this is what Pete Buttigieg has been about and has always been about, where he wants to play both sides. He wants to appear as just the smartest guy in the room and appear as all things to all people, which is kind of the 1990s neoliberal playbook that we've been seeing time and time again, but it doesn't work anymore. Unfortunately, it seems like it is working in Iowa, the fact that he's leading in some polls is very concerning, and goes to show that we as a progressive community have a lot of work to do. But again, Iowa's a caucus, so we can't always be sure. A reminder that Obama in 2008 was not polling as well in Iowa as obviously the result.
That's true.
He won Iowa, right? So I'm not misremembering.
I don't believe so. And so
oh God.
No, I think that you're right there. Yeah, it would potentially throws things off when you try to correlate the poll and the end result. But finally, I'll say this video is obviously from 9 years ago. It's incredibly likely that Pete Buttigieg has a different opinion of the Tea Party now. So to the Buttigieg campaign, feel free to come on the show and talk about the Tea Party and its legacy. I think that would be very helpful at this point. Thank you for watching this clip from the Damage Report. For more content from the show and access to TYT Network members-only exclusives, go to tyt.com/Brooke. Wait, no, it's tyt.com/John. Go to tyt.com/John to sign up.